Hey everybody, Jake and Gino here, and we're going to do a quick members-only video. We want to jump in and talk about our preferred vendors, the vendors that we use on a daily basis for our business, and other tools that we're using for some of the other businesses that we're involved in. Members only, and simply want to make this informative in case you guys have any questions about who to use for certain aspects of your business. We just want to tee it up and say, hey, this is who we're using. You may or may not want to use them, but at least it gives you a starting point. So, Mr. G Papa Funk, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good, man. So, what do you want to start off with today?
Well, the reason why I wanted to put this together was a lot of our coaching students. This is where we start out. This is really high level stuff. I got a lot of these actually from Jake and Gino members. I posed a question on the closed Facebook group, and I got some of these tools back. But Jake and I have noticed that when we start coaching students, it's not only about multifamily, it's about really the whole entire business platform. You know, you can learn all you want about multifamily, but if you don't have a guy to go to do insurance, right, Jake, or if you don't have an attorney to go to, or if you don't know how to build a website, or if you don't have a CRM going on, it's really going to be difficult. So we're going to try to lay out every tool that we use, every important vendor that we've got, and I think it's really important.
2 words, business development, right?
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. It's scaling. It's business development. So, you know, you're sitting there, you start to buy this stuff, and it's like, oh shit, what do I do now? Especially if you're self-managing. So I think a lot of this is going to not only the guys that are subbing out to management companies, but the ones that are, because you got to know your business, right? Even if you're using a management company, you still want to have knowledge about the business and how it's operating. So which vendor do you want to kick it off with?
Well, let's just start with the software first. I mean,
okay.
Jake and I started out with QuickBooks. If you're starting on your first property, look at QuickBooks. QuickBooks is an easy, simple solution, not rocket science. You could do it yourself. It's a great hands-on tool for you to figure out how you look at income statements and look at income and expenses. You can run the balance sheet. You can really get a good grasp for the numbers. I like QuickBooks. As we started scaling up, we said to ourselves, let's not get caught in the QuickBooks debt spiral. We went to RentPost. Weren't too thrilled with it, but you know what? From there, we graduated to AppFolio. We love AppFolio. I was just telling Jake, I actually have the gentleman who created Cozy. That's another platform that uses software for property management companies.
That's like the thing you put around your beer, right? The Cozy? No.
COZY.
Okay.
No, this is no alcohol show today. So check them out also. But, I like what Jake said. Think about the end in mind. If you're going to only own a small portfolio of single-family homes in 20 or 30 units, maybe QuickBooks is fine. But I guess for most of the people who are on this call and listening to us, they want to go big. They want to get bigger. So, check AppFolio out. It might not be appropriate for your first or second deal, but always have them in the back of your mind because they are awesome. They've got so many features. Jake can go into the features as far as having them, how they could save you money. You could probably pay for it through the savings that they have. You can run credit reports, background checks through them. So we love that platform.
I would say that a lot of the managers that work for us that have come from larger property management companies have used OneSite, a RealPage company. And I'm sure OneSite is great. We've basically got presentations from them. But the reason I like AppFolio is because it may not be as robust of a platform, but from everything that I can tell, there's a lot more value there in terms of the price. So it gets us essentially everything we need, but it's not going to have the hefty price tag that a OneSite will, which again I'm sure is great. So if you want to spend a little bit more, I think that's an option for you as well. And then the other big one out there is Yardi. So it's a YARDI. So
the other thing, Jake, about it, when we started using AppFolio, our bookkeeping costs went down. So think about it that way. So, so AppFolio and these software providers, they pay for themselves in other ways that you can't tell. First of all, you get real time. You're in the cloud. You get real time data, which is what you need. So if you're going to hire a property management company out there, make sure they use some type of software because you want to know what's going on Monday, January 12th. Why are there still 25% of my units not rent collected yet? You still want to know why is unit 52 been empty for the last 68 days? This software will give you that real-time information, so it's important that you guys really look into a software provider.
I'm going to throw a warning out here on the next one because that's laundry. And guys, we've used CoinMac before, and I am not a fan. It's just, it's the customer service just has not been there. We're transitioning over. We have 2 other companies that we're using. One is a local company, but also Caldwell and Gregory. And we've had a better experience with Caldwell and Gregory. Their technology is better. They have some things that allow you to essentially use credit card payments on each machine, and the cost has been the same. The customer service, knock on wood, to date has been better. So I know some of you guys out there might be using CoinMac. I'm pretty much done with them at this point. They were not able to provide the level of service that we expect. So you got to be careful, because we've signed up. We have a decent amount of units under contract with them, and we're starting to dismantle that. So buyer beware. Wasn't a huge fan there. Going to some other folks now, but we are a fan of laundry, using laundry services. You just gotta make sure that whoever you're partnering with, and that's part of the reason we're doing this call, because we want to shorten everyone's learning curve. So if we can get out there, we've used somebody, it hasn't really worked well. Hopefully that's going to save you guys money on the back end.
I don't want to add anything else to the laundry other than what CoinMac did is they raised prices by 10%.
Poor service, though. Poor service. Also
that was the nail in the coffin. The 10% raise is one thing. When they come out there 1 month, they don't collect 1 month, and they take too long to pay and stuff like that. When you have one property, you can be really on top of it. That's fine. But when you have units spread across the platform, it's difficult to deal with a company like that. And if you have leverage, listen, you use your leverage. So that's what we ended up doing. We ended up using our leverage, and we're shedding them. Yeah. The next one is really important. It's the accountant. We did a podcast with Tom Wheelwright. His company is called Provision. Listen to the podcast, because it talks a lot about accounting. We did a podcast, one of our very first podcasts, with our accountants that we use, Lawhorn. Listen, everything's got to be on the cloud. It's all going to be cloud-based right now, because you want to be able to access it. Accountants are a very, very important team member. They're going to save you a ton of money. That will dovetail into the cost segregation. We've got a great cost segregation guy. If you need his name is Chris Weatherall. Hit me and Jacob, Gino at Gino.com, and I will give you his name, because he's very fair, very reasonable, and he can save you a ton of money.
Yeah. The call center, we should have hit this earlier. We use a call center called Indatus. They're actually owned by RealPage, who owns one site. So see if you can follow that trail. Anyways, that's what we were talking about with the software earlier. But we pay $100 a month for each property, and essentially we have 24-hour emergency service. They have some really cool features with it. I think there's a good value there, and we've liked Indatus so far. So.
Next one is the eviction site, which is Nationwide Eviction. I'll let Jake talk about it. It's a great site. We like to use it.
Yeah, Nationwide is cool because it actually ties in. It's software that ties in directly with the attorneys that we use. So it's all about scaling, time efficiency, not having to pick up the phone, right? You go on, manager puts in the information, whether the person needs to be evicted, sends a message immediately to the attorneys. They process it from there. Doesn't cost anything to use it, so you may want to find an attorney group that has access to Nationwide Eviction, just because it's all about scale, it's all about process and systems, and that ties in nicely to what we're doing.
Next one is real estate research. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a gentleman who's in the Jake and Gino community. His name is Kevin Dowling. He works for Reese. Kevin Dowling, go on our closed Facebook group, hit him up. They do some really good research. They're pretty well priced, and like what he told me is basically you can choose. All these other sites, Yardi, CoStar, they can be very expensive, and they go by the market. So if you're really diving into one market, and you're really unsure of it, and say, hey, listen, I want to go in for a couple of months, they're going to charge you per market. But the data is fantastic, because you're getting comps, what's sold in the last 6 months, what's listed right now. I mean, it is great. It is great. You get job growth, you get all those numbers, but it can be very expensive. I like to use LoopNet. I've been using LoopNet for the last 20 years. We just like to use it just to see what deals are coming on, what prices people are pricing them at, and who the real estate brokers are in the market. So, I mean, I have the paid service of LoopNet, so that's what I'm using.
I got a life hack for the cheapskates out there that are like me. So if anyone, you have an apartment complex right now, apartments.com is going to come out there and try to get you to advertise on their site. We use them for one of our locations. The cool thing is you'll have a rep. The rep will come out and try to upsell you on different services, such as CoStar's big data. We've actually got access a few times a year to their market reports for our area. So if you're staying in a market, you can usually get that stuff from your CoStar rep. They'll sprinkle it out to you, from time to time. So unless you need it, constantly, you can kind of access that data without paying for it. So that's just a one way to get around paying the huge fees for that. We've got it a bunch of times. It's great to look at. We've been able to use it, benchmark ourselves, but we know the market pretty well at this point. It's nice to look at and confirm things. But if you're going into a new market, that's a little bit different of a story. But you can definitely get access to what's in your market, especially if you have a complex already.
Jake, I guess the next one's the collection site we use. If you want to speak to this, it's Rent Collect Global. I'll have a link for it also on the bottom.
Yeah, that ties in. So they're, from all the data that they've presented and what we can see, they're probably one of the best. I think they're about 25% at returning the money that's owed to you. So that's pretty good, because a lot of times you feel like you send this stuff off to collections and you never see it. So they're returning it about 25%. The other thing is we use another company called Sure Deposit. So it's a Sure bond. Basically, it's an $87 bond that the tenant pays when they move in with us. And if there are damages, we can collect $500 on that bond, and then they'll go after them. The cool thing is that Sure Deposit and Rent Collect Global are tied in together. So anything that we're submitting, it's tied into the same pool, and it's kind of one-stop shopping for the collections and that sort of thing. So that works really nicely. So we like the relationship that they have there. And our process is essentially we charge a move-in fee, we charge a sure bond, so it's a non-refundable move-in fee, non-refundable sure bond, and then we use what's going to kind of roll into our next segment is lease lock. So it's rent payment insurance. The whole idea here, guys, is that if we're billing for $10,000 a year on an apartment, we want to be able to collect all that, and if the tenant damages the unit, we want to be able to collect on that as well. So it's all about setting up a structure where you're going to be able to collect on every dollar that you're billing for, and that's essentially what we're attempting to do. So businesses that are integrated and work together makes our lives easier, makes our systems run more efficiently. So again, it starts off from the move-in fee to then we have a Sure bond through Sure Deposit. If the tenant skips on us, we're gonna collect from Sure. We're gonna set it into the Sure Deposit to get our $500 bond payment, but also we can use that same information to go right to the collection site. So, sorry if it gets a little confusing. I want you guys just to stay with it. And then we're using lease lock, which is rent payment insurance, where if the tenant essentially will pay for if their credit is low, they'll pay lease lock $500 or whatever, and we'll get paid for the remainder of that lease. So if they bust out or whatever, we have protection there as well.
Now, unfortunately, lease lock only deals with 500 units and above. So
not for one location, but portfolios.
Portfolio, yeah. So maybe a lot of you guys might be a little too small, but just keep that in mind. What I'm going to do, Jake, on the bottom of this also is I'm going to put all the podcasts that are hooked up to these preferred vendors so they can listen to them, whether it's the laundry, whether it's lease lock. So I want to do that. Next one we got is let's talk about hiring, which we use Indeed. Indeed is really big out there. Mm-hmm. And the maintenance supplies is HD Supply.
I want to talk about that a little bit, though, the HD Supply, because the great thing about HD is that they're going to deliver next day for free. Don't always love their prices, but it keeps your maintenance men working. But what you guys got to take a look at right now is Lowe's, because Lowe's is actually starting to try to get into that market and pull some of that business away from HD. And we've started negotiating deals with them where they're actually giving us 7% off all of our purchases. Anything over $1,500, they're sending out to the bid room. The really cool thing is that they're going to start delivering. We can go onto our Lowe's for Pros. They'll deliver next day for free from the store. They're actually sending reps out now into the field. Lowe's has started hiring people to basically cover businesses like ours. So Lowe's is going to start eating away at that business. I've always liked their pricing better, but we don't want our guys running around at Lowe's all day, having coffees and talking to the pro desk, right? Because that's going to just burn time.
This just brings me a great thought. Now, how did Lowe's come up with that? They must have been listening to their customers, right? This is what you should be doing with your tenants. Yeah. They must have been listening to a guy like Jake saying, I just can't use you guys. I love you guys. I love your prices, love your service, but I can't have John go out there for 3 hours for a couple light bulbs.
They'll milk it. They will milk it too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I love the fact that they're doing that because they're saying there's a lot of competition in this space. And Amazon's probably in that space also. Well, they're probably delivering next day also. So they've got to compete. So hats off to them. That's what you should be doing as an entrepreneur, focusing on that kind of value, that kind of service.
You're going to get ultimately better pricing. From everything that I can tell, you're going to get better pricing. Definitely. And you're going to have a couple people that are literally right down the road from you that you can have a relationship with. And so it's so far so good. We'll report back later, but like I said, so far so good.
I guess the last two vendors that I want to talk about, Jake, is the insurance agent, TIS Insurance, guys that we use in Knoxville. Very competitive, young guy, Kelly. He's really hungry for the business, very responsive, calls you right back. Even if you don't use him, hit him up for a few questions. He loves to talk insurance.
Or at least a quote, right? Keep you guys on their toes. Keep them competitive.
Exactly. Compare apples to apples. And the other one we haven't used yet, but we're right on the cusp of using because we're starting to syndicate, is CrowdStreet. It's a great investment portal. They're actually a company that does software for private equity companies. So we're going to start using them. The It's exciting. It's a really exciting company. They're the next disruptor in the multifamily space as far as raising money.
Now you're going to get into the high level stuff, huh?
I don't know if it's high level.
It's over my head.
Let's go over these things real quick. I mean, this is what Jake and I use to run our business. And I mean, we're not tech savvy, but I think everyone should know stuff. First of all, we use Calendly, Calendly, for a calendar schedule. Make yourself look professional. It's awesome. You can create your own little schedule. It's $8 a month if you want to go pro. It's great.
Plus a little card stock, right, Gino?
Yeah, but you know what's great about it? People don't use that. I'm going to call you up so they can schedule. You look at Calendly. The next one we use Skype. Now, Skype, we're on a call right now. Skype can drive you nuts. The other platform that a lot of guys out there are using to record their podcasts is Zoom. Take a look at Zoom. Zoom is very, very affordable. It's a great platform. Next thing we use is for our CRM, content. For all our emails and stuff is Autopilot. It's a great program. I mean, there's so many different CRMs out there. We just got comfortable with Autopilot because we have a lot of journeys that we got going on inside that we want to send people out. We have all our sales funnels. We're really comfortable with that. What we use for webinars, it's GoToWebinar. $109 a month, and I have to say, it was the best $109 I think I ever spent in my life. Jake and I are remote, so we're trying to do webinars with, I don't remember the other platform we were trying to use. With one person.
We tried Facebook Live once, right? And it just tanked.
And Facebook's not there yet. It's still not there. I had to do an OSB plugin. It was a freaking nightmare. So GoToWebinar is awesome because you can do GoToMeetings also. So, I want to start a monthly platform where I have a closed group for monthly meetings, and I can actually go on GoToMeetings and schedule a meeting and have a live meeting with 20, 30, 40, up to 100 people, I think, on that platform. And it's only $100 a month. It's an awesome program for you guys to check out. I love it. Next thing we use for podcasts, we use SoundCloud, we use Stitcher, we use Spreaker, we use Listen, all
crazy,
those
right?
sites. Yeah, but they're all on there because people love listening to them differently. I thought iTunes was the big thing, but a lot of people don't have Macs, so they like to listen to it on Spreaker, Stitcher. So check out all those sites. Jake and I use Kajabi. If anyone's deciding on throwing out an educational platform or wants to teach students, Kajabi is awesome. I love the product. There's other ones out there. We just got really comfortable with Kajabi. The pricing is very, very reasonable, and we just love it. Everyone should have a Dropbox. Right now, it's the 21st century. I've had Dropbox for a few years. You put all your files in Dropbox. You want to look professional? Put all your tax returns in Dropbox. Put last 2 years of tax returns. Put your bio in there. Put a picture of yourself. Put schedule real estate owned. Put your personal financial statement all in one Dropbox folder. So when a banker asks for it, you shoot it out to them. And Dropbox is just a great way to send documents. And don't keep anything on your computer. It's all kept in Dropbox. It's a very simple way to pass things amongst each other. Next thing we like to use is PayPal. I think everyone's got to have a PayPal account or a Stripe account. I mean, it's pretty
good for
easy.
paying VAs, right, Gino?
It's great for everything. It's just a great platform just to pay because everyone, and it's a great platform for you if you're trying to generate revenues and you're collecting revenue. Stripe is an awesome platform to use. I got this from a Jake and Gino member because we don't do a lot of list sourcing. It's Prospect Now and List Source. If you guys are sending out direct mailers and you guys need to buy lists, look on those two companies and you'll be able to buy lists on those two companies. Next one, I'm going to give you three all in one shot. These are real estate education networks. The first one everyone knows is Bigger Pockets. They've got a great site, a lot of information. Sometimes they're a little tough because they don't want you self-promoting, and they might a little strict on that, but they've got a great network out there. They have a really good podcast out there. They have a lot of really solid people on that platform. So check out Bigger Pockets. Another one's called Flip Nerd. Flip Nerd is a very similar site, a lot smaller than Bigger Pockets, but they've got a lot of good stuff on there also. And the next one is called Connected Investors. Go take a look at Connected Investors. They're another site. A lot of these sites, Jake, the only problem is they deal with a lot of single-family home guys and a lot of wholesalers. But it's still getting in there, learning who the brokers are in the area, the mortgage brokers, the insurance brokers, the real estate brokers. That's what a lot of these sites offer because they got guys out there who are trying to network.
I want to throw one out there. This beast right here for you guys. How long? This is Audio Technica. I had such problems with the damn microphone, right? So this diesel monster right here has made my life a lot easier. We were getting so many things. So I don't know what the number is, but it's on Amazon there if you guys want to check it out.
And now down with the workflow here. I'll list them real quick, but I'll put them in the show notes. We use Xmind, we use Flickr, Trello, we use Fiverr. I love CrowdSpring or 99 Designs. One platform that I love to use is JotForm. You know, those forms you guys get from me. I don't even pay. It's free up to 5 forms. I'm starting to do surveys for the tenants, Jake. I don't know if you saw the survey for the tenant. They're awesome because they go right to the person. You can personalize them, and the survey comes right back to your email. JotForm is a great little tool. And the last one I have is Upwork. I mean, I think everyone likes to use Upwork.
I started seeing some stuff come through AppFolio too. AppFolio has some sort of we're getting ratings or reviews from tenants actually internally. So
that's great.
You got to check that out too, which is pretty.
And then once you get those, put them on your website. Make sure that people know, because if somebody's saying something good about you, it means a lot more than you're saying something good about yourself.
Think about it. People will say something when they're pissed. When they're happy, they just expect it. So
and you know what? That's what's great about it, though. That's how you find out that you're doing something wrong in your business. You want people to take criticism, whether it's good or bad. The bad criticism sometimes is better because you can fix it. Remember that problem we had with the property? That's right. We had a property, our second property, there's a lot of dog crap all over the property, and tenants were really pissed about it. Now, Jake and I, we could have been like really, insecure and said, oh, well, too bad. They got accepted it. So what we ended up doing, dog stations around the properties. We started cleaning it up. We started telling the tenants, curb your dog. So it really alleviated the situation. So just got to listen to your tenants out there. Use JotForm. It's a great platform. Got anything else for me, Jake?
No, I like throwing the microphone plug in there because that was pissing me off for a while. So
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Guys, down in the comments below, we went a little bit longer than normal. I guess that's what Jake and I always do. But if you have any sites that you guys like, put the comment down below. Let me know, and I will include it into the show notes, into the notes on the bottom of this video, because I want all the Jake and Gino members to get as much value from this video and to try to use as many great platforms as there are out there.
Yeah, I think going back to the beginning, just to recap, it's all about the business development, right? You got to know who to go to. You got to have the systems in place, and at some point you got to say, you know what, I'm going to spend some money and start to scale. Otherwise, because you can't do everything yourself, right? And that's where so many people get stuck. Do I hire somebody? When the question always, when do I hire somebody? It's like, you get a property, you're gonna have to start hiring people, right? So ASAP.
It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of if, right?
Yeah.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Excuse me. So, all right, great video, Jake. We'll have it up in the next couple of weeks just for Jake and Gino members, posted on the closed Facebook group, and we're putting the Kajabi platform. So, guys, have any questions? Gino, jakeandgino.com. Thanks.
Thanks, Gino.
Bye.